Hey, great to have you here. So I figured with Dexter Original Sin kind of winding down at this point, why not spend some time talking about Yellowjackets Season 3? I put a poll out about this the other day, and it seems like most folks were interested in talking about Season 3 going forwards, so definitely planning to do that similar to how we did with Dexter Original Sin. May not go as in-depth. Honestly, Dexter's a series that I have a lot of background with and a lot of enjoyment with. Yellowjackets, while I've enjoyed thus far, I don't have as much background here. I watched both the first and second season pretty much when they came out, but only gave them really one watch, so haven't repeated and gone through the seasons once again, so my knowledge here may not be as familiar as with Dexter, so just keep that in mind going forward. But with that for today, I want to talk about my wish list for what we get in Season 3 ultimately. Quickly, I did want to say if you like what you see here, I'd be incredibly thankful for you to subscribe to the channel, as we plan to talk more about this stuff in the future, and it really means more than you know. Now, into my wish list. So starting off with number 1, you'll probably see somewhat of a theme for this wish list in that I want to get more uncovered in some of the mystery that we've gotten thus far. And the first one being explaining the pit scene from the first season. So the first season had this scene where this girl's running and falls into this pit, and the girls wind up surrounding the pit. We've never really gotten much explanation there. We don't even really know who the girl is who falls in the pit, I don't believe, and not much really comes of that we've gotten. So really want to see them explore that further and explain that scene a little bit more in detail, because to this point in time, it's just been a highlight at the beginning of the first season and then really forgotten beyond that. Next up at number 2 on my wish list, this one's maybe a little bit controversial and probably the most in-depth of my list here, and I'm hoping that they speed up and close out the kids' storyline. So some of the pacing we've gotten thus far in that storyline is a bit dragged out at times. We've only gotten a few people die here and there, and it's spanned 2 seasons already thus far. Not to mention, it's been a few years since the first season came out, so some of these actors playing these child roles are maybe pushing 30 at this point. I get that they can play younger roles, but it definitely feels like as we progress further, it's going to be weirder for them still to be kids in some of those scenes. To expand upon that further, hopefully we finally get a rescue scene here. I don't know how many seasons they plan to do for Yellowjackets, but it seems like at some point we got to show, hey, how these girls got out of the wilderness ultimately, and I'm hoping they kind of do that in some fashion in Season 3 and progress things a little bit more quickly. We've also had the coach dying for a few seasons at this point. There's definitely points in Season 1 where we're like, oh, he's definitely getting killed off, which he survived thus far to Season 3, so hopefully we get some more development there, and maybe the coach survives, I'm not sure, but it seems like he should have died multiple times already thus far. Just wanting some of the storylines, him included, to be progressed a little bit more quickly. Not to mention, I wouldn't mind spending more time with the adult characters. You have Shauna's husband, Jeff, who's been hilarious in a lot of different scenes. I know in the first season he had that line, "There's no book club."
What? There's no book club?
Which was awesome to see there. On top of that, we have Elijah Wood, who got introduced in Season 2. So those 2 characters I'm hoping to see more of in Season 3. So to have that, we kind of need to have more of the adults present than the children scenes. So as mentioned, maybe a little bit of a hot take there, but I kind of just hope we progress things a little bit more quickly going forward. At number 3, I'm hoping we get some answers on the whole mythical creature or spirit that's tied to Lottie. We've gotten some mystery surrounding that, and not a whole lot of answers necessarily. There's been some breadcrumbs here and there, but I'm really hoping we get more explanation of what this creature is, the powers they may have, and the influence, and just what all is going on in the background there. And maybe that's trying to rush to the end too quickly, but just want to get more explanation as far as what's going on exactly and really the implications of everything. Such as, are the adult characters still influenced by this creature or this spirit, and they're being influenced as adults outside of the wilderness? Definitely still felt like the way we closed out Season 2, that the adults were attacking each other and things like that. There was still some power over them that was taking place here, so want to get more of that flushed out and more explanations there and more development just with what really the implications are for this mythical creature or spirit impacting their lives going forward. At number 4, I'm hoping we get more explanation around Thaissa's transformations. So for the past couple of seasons, we've gotten moments where Thaissa will pretty much black out and go to this primal version of herself and just do a lot of weird things. Like she killed the dog, she was eating like mud, I think, at one point in the first season. So a lot of strange behaviors from Thaissa. Not sure if the spirit is really tied to this happening, but she does this weird transformation where she goes to another place and doesn't remember what she's doing. So getting more explanation around that and what's causing it, and really the implications of that going forward for her as well. And then finally at number 5, who started the cabin fire in the flashbacks? So as I mentioned, I haven't watched these seasons repeatedly necessarily, but I remember having the cabin fire take place, and I'm not sure we really got an answer as far as who's responsible for that. So let me know who you guys think maybe behind that. Is it the coach? Is it one of the girls, obviously? Is it the spirit that's taking place here? Not really sure what the answers are going to be there. So just across the board, obviously you can kind of tell a trend with my list here. There's a lot of mysteries and things that kind of dropped little breadcrumbs for that we are intrigued by, but we need to get ultimately some payoff for those things in order to still be interested in them. If you keep dragging us along and not giving us some answers, at that point it becomes a little bit like, all right, this feels a little bit silly. We're not really getting any storyline progressions. So I'm hoping we get answers at least to some of these things. We can obviously include more mysteries going forward, but we haven't really answered some of the previous ones. So hopefully those get a little bit more closed out. So that's my list of stuff as far as wish list goes. What are your guys' thoughts as far as what I discussed here today? What's on your personal wish list for Yellowjackets Season 3? What do you want to see there? Do you want to have the show expand many more seasons, or do you think things should progress a little bit more quickly and close it out here shortly? Just want to get all your thoughts on Yellowjackets and really what you're hoping for there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hope to talk to you again soon.